Hey guys, welcome back. Today I have another favorites video for you guys. You guys have been really liking this series, so I wanted to go ahead and keep doing different colors and sometimes different seasons. But I do have a cold. I'm starting to get a cold, unfortunately. I've been so good for so long, but anyway, so my voice is a little bit raspy, but I'm gonna just work through that. Okay, before we get into that, I'm gonna link what I'm wearing here. I'm also gonna link the lipstick that I'm wearing. This is Urban Decay Morning After lipstick. I love this kind of, it's still pink, but it is a little bit more beige nude, and I think it's good to have like a beige nude when you're wearing red or red, but I just wanted something a little more neutral today because I went with red last time, and the whole time I edited I was like, oh, that was maybe not a good choice. So anyway, I still have a hard time with red, as you can see, but this is a really good neutral. I love it, and I think it would go good on anybody, and it's really glossy. Okay, and then I'll talk about obviously what's on my nails when I get to that polish because it's the one that I have in my stash. A lot of you had requested for me to review my favorite red polishes, especially since it's getting close to Christmas time. I wanted to get this up before Christmas. I wanted to get it up a little sooner, but this video has taken me quite a while to film and do comparisons for, and you guys know how much I just love doing red comparisons. I do not like doing it at all. I was kind of looking forward to this as well as dreading it because of a few reasons. First, it's really hard to take pictures of red. They never seem to be completely accurate in the camera. When I'm looking in my lens and taking the picture, they look true to color, and then I look at the picture and I'm like, ah, it's just a little bit off. Second, because it's so hard to do comparisons, like I have mentioned a million times, and all of them are just slightly different, but it's really hard to capture that in the camera. But I think I did a pretty good job with comparisons this time, so I'm definitely providing those for you for my favorites. I'm also going to talk about polishes that are similar to the ones that I like, so you can kind of get an idea of something that you may have that's very similar. I wish I had time to do comparisons of all of them, but I just do not. It's just too much. Anyway, and you'll see by the end of this that I'll start to get a little bit of staining on my skin just because in the winter I do have little dry areas at times and it can stick in there, so that's kind of frustrating too, and it makes it hard. So I wasn't looking forward to that. And three, there are just so many reds. So many companies, so many good ones, and I try to stick to the main lines because those are the most popular and those are the ones that I like and enjoy, especially OPI. I have a lot of reds that I love that are OPI. Another thing we need to talk about a little bit before getting into reds, and I think this kind of goes with any colors that you're picking, but overall, if I'm just picking a color, I don't try to match my skin tone, although I do kind of have a neutral skin tone pretty much. I do feel like my skin tone is leaning slightly cool toned lately, and especially in the winter, my purple undertones are definitely more prominent. So the purple is going to be like cooler undertones, and they're going to be more flattering to cooler color tones. So those color tones that have purple or blue in them, okay? And then you have warm undertones, and I do have really warm kind of olivey skin that's medium toned, and especially in the summertime. If your veins, when you look at your veins, look kind of green, and see in some spots on my skin, like for example my wrist, I have veins that look green, but closer to my nails, I have a lot that look purple. So I feel like I'm kind of neutral, and it just depends on how warm my skin is or how cold my skin is. And I feel like as I'm getting older, my skin tone's going a little cooler, so I think that's why I gravitate towards cooler polishes. So hopefully that makes sense. So there is a little bit of science in picking colors that might be more flattering on you. Maybe that's a reason that you gravitate towards certain color tones because of your skin tone. But I don't talk about that too much because I honestly just wear what I like. But I feel like with reds, it's very important to think about that, at least for me. So you'll find in this video that there are a lot of polishes in here that are maybe more cool toned, but I do have some other ones in here. I mostly wear reds during the holidays, so I think these are going to be kind of more holiday inspired reds. I do have some slightly orange leaning reds in here. I didn't put any bright orange reds like Cajun shrimp or any of those in here because they're more orange, but they're like coral shades, and I'll probably do a separate coral video. But when my skin's really warm in the summertime, I love those bright kind of orange corals, but in the winter I do not. I just don't think they look very good on me. And sometimes, like the one I have on my nails, I like it, and other times when I see my hands when they're cold, I'm like, oh, that doesn't look so great. So that's kind of why I have a hard time with reds, and it's not my favorite color to wear, but I definitely try to pull red out during the holidays. But I know a lot of you just love red, and it is like a staple for everybody, and I think it is a good color. It's really classic and classy, and reds are fun. They're kind of flashy and attention grabbing, and so I think they're good, and I love the pop that they add, especially when I'm wearing like neutral clothing. That's like the only thing that I like to wear with red. That's the other thing about wearing red that I don't like, because I feel like I can only wear certain colors, but I do like to wear a lot of neutrals anyway, so it shouldn't be that big a deal. So anyway, after all that, hopefully you're still here, but I thought that was important to just touch on a little bit. So the ones I'm going to show you today, like I said, are mostly holiday inspired polishes, and there are some glitters in here because that is the time that I do pull out some glitter polishes. Okay, so I have 20 total. Most of them are OPI. There's also some Essie, some Olive and June, and one Morgan Taylor. I like to break these up in little categories within the category of color, and so I'm going to start with those that are slightly orange leaning and that are very bright, and I love those kind of colors for the holidays. I'm going to start off here with this bright red, and this is new. This is new from the Olive and June Winter 2023 collection. This is Candy Dipped, and it's a really perfect bright red color. It's very close to ES, that color, and when I did my review for this, by the way, I will link all my reviews for the collections that I have reviews on for each polish that I mentioned down below, so you have that information as well, because that will have comparisons for each specific polish on there for you to see. So this is the same color tone as that one, but this is like a jelly polish, so it's going to take like 3, maybe 4 coats to build up if you like your nail to be completely covered. But I like jelly polishes, and I think this one's so fun and squishy, and so I definitely wanted to throw this one in there, and I love the color tone of this one too. It's pretty much a true red, but maybe just a touch of orange, not too much. And then Emmy Have You Seen Oscars, you can see here, is really bright. It is such a good neutral red. I love this one so much. It's got a nice opaque formula. It builds up perfectly in 2 coats, and it is just a really, really great one. I wore this actually over the weekend, and I posted a picture on my stories for Instagram, but this is a really, really great one. It's super bright, really opaque. This is from the Hollywood Spring 2021 collection. It is definitely up there in my top reds. This next one is Coca-Cola Red, and it is pretty similar to that other one. I feel like this one is maybe just a touch brighter than it, and maybe even just a touch more coral, just a touch. And hopefully you can see that. I think you can see that when I edited the comparisons, that it is just a slight difference. And this is also the one that I'm wearing on my nails. Like I said, it's definitely one of my favorites when I want something really bright that pops. I know that Emmy Have You Seen Oscar is really hard to find, and this one is definitely easier to find, and so they're pretty comparable. They're just slightly different, but they both have a brightness to it that I really like. If I'm gonna wear a red that's kind of this tone, I like it to have some white in the base, so it really just pops and is super bright. So this is one of my favorites. It's been one of my favorites for a really long time since it came out, and it came out in the 2014 Coca-Cola collection. I don't believe I grabbed all of those from the collection, but I remember grabbing this one later because I liked it so much. It's a really, really good one. And just a little more red, not as much orange, is this one, Red Heads Ahead, and this is a really great one. I feel like this is kind of just a neutral red. As you can see, this one is still bright, but not super bright. It's just a touch deeper. I just feel like this one is flattering, and I like it on my skin tone, so I feel like it does just have like a hint more blue in it, but it is fantastic. The formula is really great too. Probably already seen it go by, but I'll put on the screen what collection it's from because I can't remember which one. Probably like the Scotland collection or something. Anyway, this is a great one too, obviously, because all these ones that I picked are really great because I picked them. Before I get into those comparisons though, I want to talk about some polishes that are pretty close to that you might have that you can pull out. They're not going to be exactly the same because I feel like they all have slight differences, but Morgan Taylor Put On Your Dancing Shoes is pretty close to that, as well as OPI My Wishlist Is You, which is a great one I feel like, but that one does have a more crelly formula. It's not quite as opaque as the other ones. But Coca-Cola Red and Emmy Have You Seen Oscar are definitely my favorites out of these 4 for sure. But let's break those down in the comparison so you can see Candy Dipped. You can tell that it is a little bit more of a a jelly polish, and you can kind of see the nail line if you look closely. And then we have Emmy, Have You Seen Oscar, which definitely has a brightness to it, very opaque. And then we have Coca-Cola Red, which is the brightest, I feel like, and hopefully that's captured on the camera. But the color is pretty close to Emmy. And then Red Heads Ahead, as you can see, is a little bit darker and not as bright, but still has a little bit of brightness to it. So it's going to give you a little bit of pop as well. Moving on are some of my favorite reds, obviously, because we're talking about my favorites. And those are reds that are a little bit more pink leaning. They're just a little bit softer. And these are all nice and creamy. And it was really hard for me to narrow these down, but I feel like these 4 are definitely great ones that I picked. And the thing about these is they might be a little bit more hard to find, but hopefully you'll have a fun adventure trying to find some of them. The first one is Be Cherry, and this is so good, you guys. This is from the Essie 2017 winter collection, and I believe it was the best from that collection, but I remember this was the polish that was the total standout. I think On Your Mistletoes was in that collection as well. I know this because I've just looked all this up on the computer. I couldn't have pulled that out without like refreshing my memory, but those two are probably the best from the collection, that teal color. But this one has a beautiful formula. I love that it has some brightness in it. It definitely has some white in the base. It's going to give you that pop because of that, and then it has that pink tone in it. So it's definitely still a red, but it's just kind of teetering on the pink side, and I love this one so much, you guys. It is going to be a little bit hard to find though. I did see that there were like 6 left on Amazon, at least on one thing that I looked at, but they were going for like $16 a bottle. I think it would be worth it just because this is one of my favorites, but I'll let you decide if you think it's worth it. I will try to link everything down below so you guys can just look up the polish and click on that link, and those links will be affiliate links. So anyway, this is fantastic. Then we have Dutch Tulips. I was gonna look deeper, but I forgot and got on here before I did that, but I couldn't find exactly what collection it's from. Hopefully I've discovered that before I edit this and it is up on the screen. Anyway, I picked this one up late. I think I bought it at Beyond Polish like a couple years ago, and I'm so glad that I picked it up because it has become one of my favorite polishes. And I feel like this is maybe, it's pretty close to Be Cherries. Yeah, as you can see, this does have a little bit more red, but they're very close. This is definitely pink leaning as well, and it quickly became one of my favorites when I picked it up. And like I said, this is going to be easier to find, so I will put a link down to that below. I think Beyond Polish has it, so that's a great place to buy polish. If you buy it from Beyond Polish, it's going to be cheaper and it's going to be wrapped up nice and snug. So this is a really great one that's available at Beyond Polish, such a good one, and it's very close to Be Cherry. So if you don't want to pay more money for Be Cherry, then just get this one because they're pretty close and they're both really great. The formula is great on this one too. Another cherry one, you guys can see that I love the cherry ones. This one's called Cherry on Top. This is from the Soda Pop collection from 2018. It has a really fantastic formula as well. This has a touch more purple in it. So it's like getting really close to being like slightly purple, and hopefully you can see that in my comparison in a minute, but I just love this one too. And obviously I like kind of those more purple tones. Sometimes I don't though, because sometimes I feel like it pulls out my more purple undertone. So anyway, I don't know, depends on how cold my hands are, but this one's great. Then we have She's Pampered from the Leading Lady collection from 2012, and this was my favorite red for such a long time. It definitely has a little bit of pink in it, but it still is a little bit more red leaning, and it is just kind of the perfect red. I would say this is like my perfect red. If I pull out this one here, you can see, hopefully, maybe not, that this is just a little bit more red. But man, this one is so good. I've loved it for a long time. I will link it if I find it down below. I'm thinking you can probably still get your hands on this one, but this is definitely one of my favorites. Have you ever seen me so excited about reds? Okay, so let's talk about those comparisons. So Be Cherry and Dutch Tulips, like I said, are similar. I feel like Dutch Tulips is just a touch brighter. And then Cherry on Top, like I mentioned, is slightly more purple. And then She's Pampered is just a touch darker and a little bit more red leaning. And it's kind of my perfect red. I love that one for so long. Okay, now we're going to get into like mid-toned, more true reds. So they're going to be a little bit deeper, a little more red, and kind of just sitting in the neutral red zone. And I'm going to also mention some polishes here at the end that are pretty close to all of these that weren't my favorites, but that are still good and pretty close. And I don't know why these are my favorites compared to those. It's just because I tried them on and like, oh, I like this one a little bit better. And there's different reasons for it, but these are just the ones that I picked. We're going to start out with this lovely one called Blazing Up the Charts, and this one is beautiful. This one is from the Winter 2022 collection. I Want to Dance with Somebody collection, and I fell in love with it when it first came out. As you can see, it does have a touch of pink in it as well. I'm really curious to see how this compares to She's Pampered. I feel like She's Pampered. I didn't compare it to this. It's just slightly more pink, but they're very close. So obviously I know why I like this one, because this is just slightly pink leaning, but not too much. And the brush and the formula are just perfection, and it goes on so nice. It has enough white in the base still that it's going to really pop on your nails too, and it is so good. Morgan Taylor's done such a good job with their formulas in the recent years, and I just really love the brand, and this is just a really fantastic one. It looks like this one's available at Walmart when I looked it up, so I'll put the link down below for it. Hopefully you can still get it. I think it's out at Beyond Polish, but I'll link it where it's available. But this is fantastic. Have to readjust. I had leg day this morning and my legs are like cramping up. It was such a hard workout. Oh, got killed this morning. Then we have Adam. It's New Year's Eve, and this one is one of my favorites too. Oh, it's so good. It's pretty much a straight up red. It's from the XOXO or Kisses Hugs holiday collection from, I believe, 2017. If not, I will put the correct date on here. It is so good, and it is so hard to find. I really love this one, you guys. It's the perfect tone for a true red. I kind of debated whether to put this one on, but I wanted something just a little bit brighter. So I will mention some other polishes that are pretty close to this one and some of these other ones that I'm talking about right now, so you can see if you have that one, and maybe you can just pull it out or you can find it a little more easier. So I'm going to name those. So like Big Apple Red is pretty close to this. I feel like that one just has like the hintest amount of shimmer in it. I could be crazy, but every time I look at it, I like try to strain my eyes and I'm like, I feel like I can see just a hint of like very subtle shimmer in there. It's maybe a little bit more brick toned, but they're pretty close in color. And then Tell Me About It Stud from the Grease collection, that one is pretty close, and Reddy for the holidays is pretty close in color tone to that one as well. And Reveal Your Truth, maybe a little bit lighter, but I think it's a little bit lighter due to that it's kind of a more crelly and more sheer leaning polish, and so it's a little bit different. But those are all about the same color tone as this one, but if you can get your hands on this one, I feel like this one is the best, and those might just be slightly different, but similar tone. Anyway, this one is a fantastic one, and it's been a favorite of mine for a while too. And then going a little more red, a little deeper, this one is beautiful and glossy. Oh, this is Candied Kingdom. This is from the Nutcracker Holiday 2018 collection. This is definitely up there, you guys. This one's so good. Everyone I talk about, I'm like, oh yeah, I love this one. I do love this one. I've talked about quite a bit when I've talked about red, but it definitely I feel like is the brightest out of all of these, and I think that's what I like about reds, is having them be a little bit bright. And so this one probably is the brightest out of all of them. It's definitely a more true red, and it maybe is just a touch wine leaning, and so I feel like it does have just a little bit more purple in it, so I think that's why I love it. And it is fantastic. If you can hunt down and find it, do it. I don't think you'll regret it. It's just beautiful and glossy, and I just want to look at it. Yeah, it's definitely a little wine leaning, so love it. And then another one that goes just a little bit deeper is Forever Yummy. This was from the Fall 2018 collection, and it's really nice, you guys. I think I have the newer one with the new brush, and that just makes a huge difference. Anyway, so if you have an older one that's an old brush, go get a new one. Or get a brush from another company. There's other companies that sell brushes that you can switch yours out. With this one, I'm like, oh, it just makes it so nice. It's already got a nice formula anyway. It's pretty much opaque in one coat, but I like to do two. But it is a little bit more red. I feel like this one is just slightly brick toned. The one Candied Kingdom is a little bit wine leaning. So this one's really fantastic if you're an Essie lover, and I think a lot of people really like this one. It's a pretty popular one. So it's a good classic mid-tone red. Also around Christmas time, I gravitate towards wine leaning reds. I might wear those a little more after after Christmas, but I like them for Christmas too, and I definitely wanted to add them, and there were quite a bit that I loved. I decided I wasn't going to go too rich and deep, like Guys and Galaxies. I had pulled that one out. I had also pulled out Can't Read Without My Lipstick, but I think I want to do a video that just came to my head. That's like my favorite, deepest, darkest colors that are super dark, but are different colors. I think that would be fun. And maybe like a super light colors that just have a hint of color, because I love polishes like that. So I took those out. I didn't count them because those are definitely ones that I wear a little bit later in the season, and I kind of wanted to keep this more holiday related. So anyway, let's talk about those kind of wine leaning ones. This is Fishnet Stockings. This is a popular one from Essie too. It came out in the year 2000, so it's been around forever. I definitely know I didn't buy it in 2000. It was about 2013, 2014 when I was really getting into nail polish again. I had kind of taken a break while I had kids. I didn't really wear nail polish, but I got back into it when they got a little bit older. And this one's really nice too. It's definitely kind of more a true red, and I probably could have compared it to these other ones, but as you can see here, it's just a little bit darker and a little bit more wine leaning, but these are kind of close. Although on my paper, there's definitely a big difference, so I feel like Fishnet Stockings just gets a little bit richer than this one. So it made more sense to compare it to these wine colors. So this one's really great. I love that it does still have some white in the base. So these other wine colors that you're going to see don't have white in the base. So this one's going to be a little bit lighter and brighter on the nail, while still being kind of a rich color. So I love this one. And when you look at it, it's almost slightly raisin leaning. I also wanted to mention that Jump in My Jumpsuit, which is a really good favorite of mine, is pretty close to this one as well. They're maybe just slightly different, but pretty similar. It's so great, and I think a lot of you probably already have this one, and so pull it out if you haven't worn it for a while. And this one is Maraschino Cheer-y, and this is from the Winter Celebration collection from 2021. I had forgotten about this, you guys. That's why it's so fun to do these favorite videos, because I literally pull out all my polishes. I know you guys always ask me like how the process goes, and I think I might make a separate video on how I do that next time I do comparisons. But I take everything out and I lay it out. I swatch them on my hands. I kind of move them around, and it's quite a long, it's quite a big process. But anyway, I take it very seriously. But this one I had forgotten about, and I forgot how recent it was released. It's a very nice red wine leaning, because it's not just a wine color. It's definitely just wine leaning. It is so good because it's a little bit crelly and juicy and squishy, and it is fantastic. It's a crelly formula, and I've forgotten about it. I do feel like I need to put like a touch of thinner in here just because it has thickened up just a little bit, but man, it is such a fun polish, and I had completely forgotten about it. So if you had this one, pull it out if you're in the mood for like a red wine color. This one is so good. I think the only place I could find this was Walmart, and so I will link that down below. And if you're talking about these kind of wine inspired polishes, you definitely have to talk about this one. Can you guess what this is? Let me know down below if you guessed what this is, but this has been a favorite of mine for so long. I think I've used it in like my nail care routines. Have I? I think so. I think this is the one I used in one of my nail care routines. I always link that video down below so you guys have that, but you can click on that. I think it's this one. If it's not, I'm sorry. It's another one of my favorites. But this is so good. This is Malaga Wine. It is perfection. It has been around for a long time. The OPI Fall Touring Collection, which I don't really even remember. And so I'm sure it was like before 2013. So I think it's been around for a while. But this is so good, you guys. The formula is perfect. Every time I get it out, I've never added thinner to this. I've had it for so long. Probably had it for about 10 years. But it is just rich and beautiful and glossy. Goes on so nice, even with the OPI brush that they definitely need to change. They need to work on that. I hate that it's just square in my nail bed sometimes. That drives me bananas, but I can deal with it. But OPI probably should do something about their brush soon, because we're all really loving the slightly curved edges. Well, I mean, there's a few of you that don't. But I love it. So anyway, this one's so good. And if you are an OPI lover and you don't have this polish, then you need to get it for sure. It is a classic and it's available at Beyond Polish. And so you have no excuse. Go get it. Give yourself a good Christmas present. Put it in your stocking. Sneak it in there. And then we have Ginger's Revenge from the Winter Nutcracker 2018 collection. And I love this one because it's a wine polish, but it has a touch of like brown in it. So it's a little brick leaning, but not too brick leaning because brick polishes are not exactly my favorite. I don't have any brick polish colors in here. I can tell you some good ones though. With the Band is probably one of my favorite ones. The new one that came out from this OPI collection this year is a very brick toned red. They're just not my favorite. I don't know why. I mean, I like them, but I just don't wear them. But anyway, so this has like a hint of brick, but it has more like purple in it. And I think that's why I like it. Obviously, it has some white in the base, so it's going to be really opaque and creamy and perfection as you're putting it on your fingernail, and a little bit deeper and richer and moodier. And so it is so good. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about the comparisons for these. We're going to start with Fishnet Stockings. As you can see, that's a little deeper and more of a rich red. Maraschino Cherry looks a little lighter due to that it's a Crelly formula, but it is more wine leaning, but it is so good, you guys. Love it, like I've said a million times. And then Malaga Wine is one of my favorites. Look how good that is. It's just perfection. And then Ginger's Revenge has a little bit of red brown undertones compared to the other ones, so it's just a little bit different. And these next four have glitter in them, and yes, I like to wear glitter around the holidays. You guys know this. And this quick dry polish from Olive & June called Lippy is one of my favorites because it's a bright red. It is a little bit more orange leaning, and I think that's because the shimmer in here is a little bit golden, which I like actually. And it's just very subtle and perfect for the holidays. I love this one. And this was from their fall winter release. Was it this year? Last year. I'm pretty sure it was last year. Yeah, I believe it was. So this is a really great one. Hopefully it's still available. I didn't check, but if it is, I'll link it down below. If you want a little bit of glitter, but not too much, then this is definitely the way to go. And then this one might surprise you for me. This is Naughty or Nice, but I love it. If I'm gonna wear a glitter for the holidays, I want something bright and red and cherry, which this is. It has some shimmer in here, but it also has some bigger glitter pieces that are iridescent, which I love because they're kind of multicolored and it's just fun. It's a little bit of a party on your nails, which I think is fun for the holidays, and I like to do that once in a while. So this one's great. This was the holiday 2019 collection, and all of them were glittery like this. They had like a green and a blue, and this and a gold, and I can't remember what else, but I liked them all. I thought it was so fun. Anyway, they all get a little thick, so I've had to put a little bit of thinner in here. I think it does need a little bit more too, but I just applied it how it was and it was fine, but it was getting a little bit thick. So this one's really great. I feel like my green one has pretty much gotten so thick that I can't really use it anymore, but I like the green one too. I think it's fun, especially for accents in nail art, which I have not done for a while and I really miss. Actually, I just don't have the time when I'm doing so many reviews, but just having like a dab of this color with a little bit of the sparkle is such a cute accent, and so I think that's why I like these so much. So these are fun. If you can try to get that whole collection, that would be so fun. I think some places that you can get some of those older collections hopefully still are Trans Design, 88 Beauty, and I'll put links to those pages down below because I have purchased polishes from there before years ago. Polish Pick is a good one too that has some of the older collections, and sometimes she closes them out. I used to work with her years ago. She's great. Sometimes she'll close out things and put them on sale for like super cheap, so you can check her website too to get some of these older ones if you can't find them, because I know this one's going to be really hard to find. That's why you have to pick up those from the limited edition collection, because they go and they're gone. Okay, so this is a fun one. This next one is I'm Really an Actress, and this one's so fun. It's from the Spring Hollywood collection from 2021, and it's a beautiful cherry pink leaning red, and it has this gold kind of silvery shimmer in it, and it's almost kind of holographic looking. I don't know if it's a true holographic, but I feel like it's pretty close, and I love the look of it on the nail. It's just so pretty. Those are probably my favorite kind of glittery shimmery polishes, and the color tone is just perfection, you guys. It's just the kind kind of red that I just love and gravitate towards. And this one's fun too because in 1999 there was a polish release called I'm Not Really a Waitress. In fact, that's one of my mom's favorite polish. She always wears it on her toes. And it's a bright red that's shimmery and kind of more metallic, and it's definitely more of like an orangey red. I definitely like this one better. So this is kind of like the counterpart to that, saying I'm really an actress, and I think that's so fun that they gave a nod back to 1999. That's the year I got married. I just think that's fun. That's just another reason I like this polish too, just because I love the name of it. But man, this is a fun one for the holidays for sure. Then we have Ready to Jingle, and this one is so fun, you guys. This is from their new winter collection this year, and I feel like it's hard to find. I don't know why it's so hard to find. Beyond Polish doesn't have it. I don't know out, or they're having a hard time getting Morgan Taylor polishes. I'll maybe reach out to them and ask them, but it's just perfection, you guys. OPI has a lot of shades like this, slightly metallic leaning and red, but they all kind of have different shimmers in them. Some are more like maroon and purple, and some are more gold, but this one has like a pink shimmer underneath it, so it does, even though it's a red in certain lights, it has like a pink undertone to it, which makes me really love it. But it's not like a fuchsia pink, it's more like a red. So one that it is pretty close to it from OPI is Pagoda Blackberry, and that's one of my favorites too. It's an older OPI. That one does have a little bit of pink shimmer to it too. So if you have that, you can pull that one out. I did a review for this collection, obviously, and you can see that comparison there. It's really fantastic, and the formula is really great. A lot of you are liking it on Instagram. At least I've had quite a few views of it. I also wanted to mention that there's a really popular red glitter polish. I don't think it's been talked about in a while, but China Glaze Ruby Pumps is a really popular one, and I have maybe worn it once. I couldn't find my bottle of it. I really need to get my China Glaze on a shelf. It's just all in a basket, and it drives me insane to go through. I really need to just get it up. I need to have my husband build me some more shelves in there. But anyway, that one's really fun and bright and packed full of glitter, and I know a lot of you would probably really love that one, even though I don't wear it all the time. It's just a really fun, popular one, and a classic one to have, especially if you're a nail polish collector, so just don't forget that one. Let's look at these compared to one another so you can see the differences. They all are quite different though. So first we have Lippy, and that one has that gorgeous subtle shimmer, so nice. And then Naughty or Nice is my favorite red glitter polish that's pretty glitter packed, and you can see that that does have sporadic chunkier glitter pieces in there. They're a little bit iridescent. And then I'm Really an Actress is more berry toned and has more of a hollow look. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And then Ready to Jingle is that nice shimmery, slightly metallic but not super streaky red with that pink shimmer underneath. So those are all really, really fantastic polishes. And then right here on the screen, I'm going to put up all of these colors so that you can see them next to each other, because I felt like that was pretty important, not just to have the polishes that are the same mini categories, but as a whole, how they compare to each other. So hopefully this is helpful. Reds are really hard, but you can see I have the ones like Candy Dipped, that row there that's really kind of orange and bright and fun and poppy. And then I have the ones next that are a little more pink leaning, and then the ones next to that that are more red and that mid-tone classic red style. And then I have the ones that are leaning more wine, which are super fun. And then I have the ones that are just glittery polishes. So hopefully that gives you an idea, and you can look at that and really find ones that you gravitate towards. You can pause the video and look at it. I'm not gonna leave it up here for too much longer, but I just wanted to show that to you because I thought that would be super helpful. And I'll post that on Instagram as well in a couple weeks, just so that it's there and you can save it. It's nice to save comparisons like that on your phone. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. This was kind of fun, even though I was a little bit nervous about it because reds are so hard and they're hard to pick, but I found it was a little bit easier once I got into it, remembering which ones were my favorites. Let me know what your favorites were down below, because I'm sure they're a little bit different than mine. And let me know if you wear red a lot, or if you wear red just here and there like me. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I wanted to let you guys know that I do have the Essie Gel Couture Bedazzled collection, at least 4 of the polishes. I'm waiting on 2, they just haven't popped up yet, but I believe that collection's probably going to be available at the beginning of the year and will be more available then. So I'm just kind of holding off until I get those, because I just wanted a whole video. I didn't want to split it up. So that should be coming soon. Anyway, thanks again. Before you leave, hit the like like button and subscribe if you're new here, and we will see you next time. Thanks guys. Bye.